Happy Wednesday, everybody. Meteorologist Hunter Forst here. Craig is taking a well-deserved vacation, so I will be filling in this morning with more with Moeller for the rest of the week. So let's get into it. We have a lot going on, especially in the tropics. So here's what we're going to talk about for the day today. We have a tropical depression, which is likely to form within the next 48 hours. We could even have a tropical storm within the next 48 hours. The next name on the list would be Sarah. Now, we also have another supermoon on the way. You remember about 2 months ago, we had the Hunter supermoon, which was really spectacular up in the sky. The next supermoon will likely be here by Friday night into Saturday morning. And we also have much needed rain chances coming in this week. So very exciting to see. We're still in a moderate drought here in most of the Hampton Roads area, and even a severe drought up in the eastern shore. So certainly much needed rain chances are on the way. So first up, we are going to talk about the tropics, our next tropical update here, which will most likely be Sarah as we head into the weekend. But let's take a look at the tropical activity throughout the season. Now, we're in November, and this is normally when the activity really starts to ramp down, especially compared to back in September when it's the peak of the season and you see the most activity. And during November, you don't normally see much. You can see a few storms, but not really as much activity like we've been seeing the last couple of weeks, especially with Raphael and now, which is most likely going to be Sarah. So we have Invest 99L out there right now in the Caribbean. And normally during the peak of the season, right, you'll see the storms coming off Africa and the main development region, making their way towards the Caribbean and eventually up towards the United States or over towards Central America. But during this time of the year in November, this is really exactly where we normally see these storms starting to form, because there could be a lot of tropical waves in this area, and this is exactly what's going to be happening with Sarah. Tropical wave out there right now, which is the Invest 99L. And for November, this is really where the breeding grounds are. So we have a couple areas where we normally see these storms developing in November. So just in the Gulf of Mexico, and they make their way over towards Florida, which is kind of like what Sarah's going to do. We also have area number 2, which is exactly where Invest 99L is right now, which is going to make its way up towards the north into the Gulf of Mexico. And then we have this area number 3, which also is another area where most likely Sarah will go over the next week or so. But again, here's the tropical satellite. Here's Invest 99L out there right now, churning in the Caribbean. A lot of warm water out there, very little wind shear as well. So a very favorable environment for intensification, and even rapid intensification isn't out of the question once Sarah really gets its act going. But again, not Sarah right now. It's just Invest 99L. But it has a lot going for it. Not a lot of wind shear, a lot of warm water. So certainly could see a tropical depression form in less than 24 hours. Certainly could see a tropical storm form within the next 48 hours, and even a hurricane by the time we get into the weekend. So here's this area in red, Invest 99L, a 90% chance that we will have a tropical depression within the next 2 days. So very, very likely that this is going to form into a system. Here are the sea surface temperatures in the Caribbean, lower to mid 80s in the southern Caribbean. In the Gulf of Mexico, lower 80s, a little bit cooler over towards the North Gulf of Mexico in the upper 70s, but still mid to lower 80s is enough warm water for these storms to get going. And especially in the Caribbean, not only do you have warm surface water right along the surface, but very deep down into the ocean, you have those warm waters, which could really help these storms get going, which is exactly what's going to happen here with Sarah. So here we go, Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. Most likely we'll have a tropical depression forming. This is the GFS model, and you'll see it's going to kind of meander in the Caribbean for a couple of days, most likely having a tropical storm or hurricane by Friday. And you'll see by Saturday, it's still in the same area, and even Sunday, still in the same area in the southern or central areas of the Caribbean Sea. Finally, by Monday, it's most likely going to get its act together and make its way over towards the Yucatan Peninsula, which is good news for the United States, not good news for areas of Mexico, because this land interaction will help weaken what will become Sarah once it makes landfall in the Yucatan, push its way into the central areas of the Gulf of Mexico, and most likely Florida. So here's the model comparison. Over the next couple of days, we have the American model in yellow, and we have the European model in red. And these two models are in really good agreement over the next couple of days on where this storm is expected to go. So again, heading into the weekend, kind of meanders in the Caribbean Sea, makes its way to the Yucatan Peninsula by about Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon. Once we get to midweek, it makes its way over towards the Florida Peninsula. Now, the European model wants to make it have landfall in Florida by Wednesday morning, very early Wednesday morning. The American model is a little bit slower, but you'll see all of these isobars here indicating that this could be a potentially pretty strong storm making its way into the Florida Peninsula. And Florida has already seen multiple landfalls this hurricane season. They do not need any more. One is enough, but again, they've seen a few already. Debbie, Helene, Milton. So again, by Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, we could potentially be seeing a landfalling hurricane in the Florida Peninsula. But you'll see the American model takes it much further to the south. So these two models are in good agreement up until about Tuesday. That's where they differ. The European model wants to take it into central Florida. The American model wants to take it to South Florida, or even south of Florida, in between Cuba and the Florida Keys, which again would bring a lot more impacts to the Florida Keys and Miami as well, areas of Cuba, which was just affected by Hurricane Rafael, which made landfall as a Category 3. But again, once this storm actually forms and we have that defined area, the models will become in more agreement on where this will go. So we still have plenty of time to watch it, but it is looking more likely that we'll see this storm making its way towards Florida by the middle of next week. But also the spaghetti models here, you'll notice it's meandering here in the southern Caribbean Sea for a couple of days, makes its way into the Gulf of Mexico. But the spaghetti models could take this anywhere from Louisiana over towards Mississippi, Alabama, and down towards Florida. So really anywhere from Louisiana to South Florida should pay attention to this area, because it could really go in any of these directions. So something to monitor over the next couple of days, no matter where you are. Next name on the list is Sarah. After that, we have Tony, Valerie, and William. Hopefully those names don't come to fruition. But again, Sarah most likely will be here within the next 24 to 48 hours. And if Sarah does make landfall in Florida or make landfall anywhere in the United States as a hurricane, it will be the 5th to do so ever recorded. We have 4 other hurricanes that have made landfall in November. We have Kate, which is the latest landfalling hurricane ever, back in 1985 on November 21st. We also have Nicole, which was much more recent, made landfall on the eastern shore of Florida back in November of 2022. We have Yankee from November 4th, 1935. An expedition from 1861. So again, this would be the 5th landfalling hurricane in November ever recorded, if that was the case. And it's looking like that is certainly a high probability. But on to the next topic now. We are talking about the super moon, the beaver moon, which is expected to make its way into the area. This was the last supermoon back in October. Certainly was a beautiful sight. I mean, it looks spectacular when you see those supermoons out there in the sky. But again, we have Friday's beaver moon, and it was named the beaver moon because it occurs at the time of the year when beavers start sheltering in their lodges. So a pretty cool phenomenon we'll start to see. They have these pretty cool names. Again, the last one was the hunter moon because that signified when it was time to start hunting for the upcoming winter. But here's this supermoon, the beaver supermoon. So a supermoon is defined as a full moon at its closest approach to Earth, which is also called perigee. So normally the moon is about 238,000 miles away from the Earth, but this supermoon is going to be about 225,000 miles closer. So, it's going to be 225,000 miles away from us, so it'll be about 14,000 miles closer. So certainly going to be a beautiful sight to see. But then when you have those closer moons, you have higher tides. So this will be rising Friday night, 11:15. So it's going to be a super, super cool thing to see over the next couple of days. On to the next topic, though. We have a deeper dive into the dry conditions. You all know October was very dry. I believe the third driest October here in the Hampton Roads area. We only saw rain the first and second day of October, and even this November is still pretty dry, though we've seen some good rain make its way through the area over the last couple of days. But let's take a look at the rainfall departure from normal over the year. So back in March, we saw a surplus of over 6.5 inches, which was great to see. April, we were down a little over 2. May, we were up. June, we were down. July, we were way up, over 4.5 inches. But once we got to August, we had a deficit every single month. So August, we were just under 2.5 inch deficit. In September, just under an inch. Over 3.5 inches, close to 4 inches for October. And in November, we're in a deficit of over an inch. But we're still in a surplus for the year so far, just under an inch, because again, we saw a lot of rain back in March, a good amount back in July, which has made up for the lack of rain we've been seeing the last couple of months, but that still puts us in that moderate drought conditions here in the Hampton Roads area and the severe drought up towards the eastern shore. So let's take a look back at the last couple of days here in November. You would not think this calendar was for November. Look at all those 80s, the 70s. I mean, we have been seeing a lot of warm days here over the last couple of weeks. Only one day was below average so far this November. And even the first day of November was 82 degrees. Last week we saw 82 on Tuesday, 83 on Wednesday, 80 on Thursday. So if you like the warmer weather, you're not complaining. But if you like sweater weather, you're like, where are the cooler temperatures? But again, luckily today, it'll be cooler. It'll be cooler heading into the weekend as well. But really, for the last couple of weeks, it has been very, very warm. We've also only had 2 days so far this month where we've seen rain. Back on the 8th, we saw 0.02 inches of rain, which was not a lot whatsoever. And then the other day, just on Monday, we saw 0.17 inches of rain. And the good news is, once we head into Thursday evening and Friday morning, we're going to see more rain making its way into the area. And we certainly do need as much rain as we can get. Here are the rain chances over the next week or so. For Thursday evening, those rain chances really skyrocket, scattered to numerous rain showers. Those are going to linger into Friday morning before we clear out for the afternoon. And the weekend is looking great. It's going to be sunny and no rain for the weekend and heading into the start of next week as well. Next Wednesday is when we could see our next chance to see some showers. But here's the potential rainfall heading into Friday afternoon and Saturday morning. Anywhere from about 1/3 of an inch towards the eastern shore. Areas in North Carolina, you guys could see up to 1.5 to possibly 2 inches of rain. But I would say anywhere from 1 to 2, locally higher, is what we could expect as we head into our Friday morning. So not a total drought buster over the next couple of days, but it will certainly help once we see this rainfall. So that was the GFS. Here's the European model. Looking like we could see, this is wanting to give a few areas some higher amounts. Franklin could see up to 2.5, maybe closer to 3 inches of rain. Taking a look at Edenton, over 3 inches of rain, so that would be amazing to see. But again, anywhere from 1 to 2, possibly 3 inches of rain as we head into our Friday morning. So certainly could help with the drought, but not going to be a drought buster. Now, here is the drought monitor. This comes out every Thursday, so the newest one is going to come out tomorrow morning. So we'll have an update on how it's looking. But here's the thing, the rain that comes on Thursday evening won't be included in the updated drought monitor for tomorrow. So when we see the updated one heading into tomorrow, this is most likely going to not look as good. We'll most likely see the moderate drought more out towards the 95 area. We could see more areas in a severe drought. So probably going to be seeing more orange on this map, more dark orange on the map, maybe even some extreme drought conditions in a few areas, exactly like what New Jersey is seeing, and a lot of the Northeast is seeing a lot of dry conditions. They've had numerous amounts of wildfires over the last couple of days, so their air quality is not looking good. It has been really bad the last couple of days, just with those wildfires sparking constantly over the last couple of days. Here's the 8 to 14-day precipitation outlook. Good news for us, looking like we'll be a little bit wetter than normal, so different from what we've been the last couple of weeks. We've been certainly much drier than normal, but as we look towards the next week to 2 weeks, looking like we'll see a few more systems making their way into the area, so that could help put a little bit of a punch into the drought. So some great news there. As we take a look at the temperatures for the next week to 2 weeks, looking like it'll still be pretty warm. More above average heading into the next week or two, and well above normal for areas into the Northeast. If you look at areas of the South and towards the West, looking like they will be well below normal heading into the week or the next 2 weeks. So here we are taking a look at the next week ahead. Here's the United States. Not a whole bunch of rain out there. I mean, about 85% of the United States right now is under abnormally dry conditions or in a moderate drought to some extent. And that is very, very high. And there's not a lot of rain out there right now to really help wipe it out. We've seen a atmospheric river making its way into the area over towards the west coast. So they've been seeing a lot of rain, bringing a lot of snow to those mountains as well. But you'll see this system here in the central United States. This is going to be the next system that's going to push its way into our area heading into Thursday evening and Friday morning. So over the last couple of systems we've been seeing, especially back in October, you'll remember these would be making their way into the area along a cold front, but the cold front would run out of moisture and we would get nothing from it. But luckily, this system is going to keep its moisture. It's going to retain its moisture as we head into Thursday evening, bringing us some of that much needed rain. So here's the European model. Over the next couple of days, you'll see the low pressure system making its way over towards the east. Heading into Thursday morning, it'll be a dry start to the day. So your morning commute should be fine. It'll be a cloudy start, that's for sure. But once we get into the afternoon, areas along the 95 corridor will start to see those showers first. And then once we get to about 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that's when we'll really start to see those showers making their way into the area. Could definitely see some heavier downpours at times as well. That's going to linger into Friday morning. That'll push off the coast, heading over towards the east. So your morning commute on Friday is going to be wet. It could be a little bit windy as well, so you're going to want to give yourself some extra time out there on the road. You don't want to hit any of those hydroplaning concerns. And then once we head into Friday afternoon, things clear out a bit. It'll be a little bit cloudy, but any Friday night plans, we look good. You're not going to have to bring your umbrella heading out to dinner Friday night. We'll be in the clear. And it's going to stay clear heading into the weekend. We'll see a high pressure build off towards our north and west, which will help us stay dry heading into the weekend. But it's also going to be pretty chilly. Temperatures in the lower to mid 60s, but good amount of sunshine. That's really all that matters for the time being, right? As we head into next week, though, we stay pretty dry heading into Monday and Tuesday as well, even into Wednesday before we could see our next round for next Thursday. Outside right now, though, things are looking pretty good. It's a little bit cloudy. We're seeing a few cumulus clouds out there, but we love to see the blue skies heading into the afternoon. Here's our future cast for the rest of the day today. Any lunch plans? We're looking pretty good. Temperatures cool though. We're not even going to make it out of the 50s. We're going to stay in the mid 50s today, about 56 degrees heading into the afternoon. Once we get into our Wednesday evening, any dinner plans, you're going to want to bring a jacket. It could be a bit breezy as well. Temperatures dipping into the mid to lower 50s, lower to mid 40s as well in a few areas. Here we are Thursday morning. Again, a cloudy start to the day. Could be a little bit breezy as well. Temperatures, I don't believe, are going to be as cool as this morning, but still pretty chilly. Once we get to about noontime, we'll be mostly dry from Norfolk, Newport News, down towards Chesapeake, Elizabeth City, and Edenton. But again, once we get to about 1, 2 o'clock, we'll see those showers pushing over towards the 95 corridor. Could see some heavier downpours at times as well. 3 o'clock, they're making their way towards the south side, over towards West Point, Eastern Shore as well. Lingering throughout the night, we could see some heavy downpours overnight. I think the worst of it will happen while we're sleeping, but if you're waking up early Friday morning and you have an early commute, again, you're going to want to give yourself some extra time. You'll see these darker yellows, even some reds in here. Can't rule out maybe some thunder as well, but we could see some isolated, very heavy downpours, which again could lead to those hydroplaning concerns if you're out there on the roads early in the morning. And then once we get to about noontime, we clear out. Things should be looking good for our Friday. Any Friday night plans, you're looking good. We'll be dry, skies will be clear, and it should be clear enough to see the supermoon. So again, for today, it is going to be a chilly one. 57 degrees in Franklin, 56 in Suffolk, 55 in Chesapeake, 55 in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Smithfield as well. A good amount of sunshine in the morning, but again, once we get later into the afternoon, that's when we'll see more cloud cover making its way into the area. But it was a chilly start to the day today. Temperatures were inland in the lower to mid 30s, so we saw those frost advisories, even some freeze warnings out there. But getting into tomorrow morning, I don't think it'll be as cool, but certainly a cool start to the next couple of days. For this afternoon, up towards Gloucester, 54 degrees, 51 in Sunnybank, over towards the Eastern Shore, only staying in the lower 50s, and even with that added breeze, going to be feeling a little bit chilly out there. 56 degrees in Williamsburg, 54 in Hampton, and down towards North Carolina, a little bit warmer. Looking like Edenton will be the only one today that gets to the 60-degree mark. So certainly going to be feeling a little bit more comfortable over there if you like the warmer temperatures. But if you like sweater weather, then this day is for you. 58 degrees in Gatesville, 59 in Elizabeth City, and over towards the Outer Banks, 57 degrees in Kill Devil Hills, and 57 in Manu. Overnight tonight, not as bad, about 50 degrees, so a cool night. Certainly will be cooler further inland. We'll see maybe some upper 30s, I think more lower 40s to mid 40s. Breezes out of the north about 5 to 10 miles per hour, but look at the sunset. 4:57 p.m. You could really notice that early sunset now, especially when you're getting out of work and the sun is pretty much already going down. You hate to see it, but once we get to the first day of winter, that's when it reverses and the days start to get longer. That's the main reason why I love the first day of winter, is because the days finally start to get longer. I'm not a fan of the colder weather, but that's all right. Tomorrow, 60 degrees. It'll be a dry start to the day, a cloudy start to the day, but once we get into the afternoon, we'll probably reach about 60 degrees. We'll see those showers heading into the evening, lingering overnight into early Friday morning before we clear out for our Friday afternoon. Here's the 7-day forecast. 56 degrees on Wednesday, 60 on Thursday. And we'll see those showers making their way into the area as we head into Thursday afternoon, into Thursday evening, lingering into Friday morning, about 60 degrees, but the weekend is looking fantastic. 62 degrees on Saturday, 65 on Sunday with plenty of sunshine, and we'll even get back into the lower 70s by the start of next week. About 70 degrees on Monday. I will be looking forward to it. 68 degrees on Tuesday, so Much needed rain making its way into the area as we head into Thursday and Friday. But the good news is any plans this weekend, we clear out, things are looking absolutely fantastic. And we also have a great chance to see the Beaver supermoon, so something to look forward to. And of course, we'll be back here again tomorrow at 10:30, same time. And we'll continue to keep you updated on what's going on in the tropics with most likely what will be Sarah heading into the next couple of days and any updates on the drought monitor for tomorrow.